and welcome back to Serendipity Intended. My name is Tracy Ann. I'm so glad you are here. It is time for another day of Dephemerember 2025. And so let's go ahead and open up our journal and take a look and see what the prompt is for today. I enjoy so much flipping through to find my prompt page and remembering what I've done so far, especially when I'm a couple prompts in. Got a couple placeholders there with my yellow sticky notes for where I think I want to work on some pages. And here we are. So this is our prompt list. And day 9 is altered envelope and coffee mug stains. Now, for my altered envelope, I'm going to use something that I already have, which is this envelope I think I got when I purchased a journal a couple years ago. It's an envelope that was made from a book page. So I'm going to use that. And then because I am not feeling brave enough to put coffee stains directly onto my page, I'm going to use that stencil to create the look of the coffee stains instead. I think stencils are a great alternative if you are super cautious like I am and don't want to have an oops in your journal. So here we are at the page, and I think I'm going to put it here because I think the colors in this envelope work really well with the colors on the facing page. And the envelope is a little bit bigger than the page I want to use it on, but I'm really okay with that. I like the fact that it hangs over a little bit. It makes kind of a tab for the page. What I don't like so much is that envelope or that stamp that was sticking there. So went ahead and took that off. And next I'm going to put my coffee stain on there. And I'm going to use that walnut distress stain to create my coffee stain. And I am going to have it taped down just a little bit to make it easier to hold on to because I've got it placed and it's going across the page. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't have a complete disaster. So I want to have the coffee stain on both the left and the right side. And I also want a little bit of variety. So on this side, which I think will end up being largely covered up, I'm going to go ahead and use the splotch to make it look like I dropped the coffee onto the page. And then on the other side, I will actually use the one that looks kind of like the rings of coffee, as though the mug was set down on the page. I am going to put some wax paper behind it, just so that I don't end up stenciling the ink onto the page below. I have a tendency to do that. So I'm just protecting myself out of the gate. And once again, use the blue tape just to hold it down and in place because it's a little bit wonky and awkward. The thing that I like about using the dauber and the stamp is that you have a lot of control over just how dark you get that, and there also can be a color variation, which I think is a little bit consistent with what a real stain would look like. Now you see there is a little bit of a difference between the left side and the right side. That's because the right side paper is glossier than the left side paper, and so it's just going to accept the ink a little bit differently. And at the end of the day, I'm okay with that. I did decide to go ahead and add a little bit of stain to the envelope as well, just to kind of give the image or the idea that I had done something with the envelope on the side and gotten a stain there. And then also going around the edges just to add some dimension to the edges and pull the envelope off the page a little bit. Now, I'm marking just so that I can find my spot again. And that's largely because I'm going to apply the glue onto the page rather than onto the envelope. And I didn't want to glue down too far. So that lets me not only put the envelope back in the right spot, but it also allows me to not put glue where I don't want it. And then I've got a little bit of a pocket there. So sort of pleased with how that turned out. Thank goodness for art glitter glue. And I'm going to go ahead and use my binder clips to clip everything down so that I can work on the rest of the page. So I have a whole bunch of things that I just pulled to use and to play with. And so I'm just grabbing some snippets and sort of playing with a little collage. I love these penguins. They're from a digital kit. And I really wanted to use one or both of them on the page. I think this guy works really nicely here. So I'm just playing with some pieces that I grabbed that I thought color-wise would work with the colors that were already there to see what kind of a collage I can create. When I'm using rectangles, which is essentially what I have there in the background, I like to turn them and have them face different directions so that I can create some interest that way. And then this is an epoxy sticker that I have, and I want to use this on the envelope flap, but it's bigger than the envelope. So I'm adding that paper to the back just so that when I lift it, it doesn't stick to the envelope behind and it's something that's a little bit more attractive looking. And doing a little bit of edging again with all of the pieces just to tie them together and make them a little bit more cohesive. And then finally, I decided I really didn't like the extra white that I had left here. I tend to do this when I cut out images and fussy cut them in advance. If there's a piece like a leg or a bird beak or a wing, tiny wing that's sticking out, I'll leave the white in between them until I'm ready to use it, just to help keep it from getting bent up or damaged in my storage container. And then it's a quick trim to take the rest of those pieces out before I actually glue it on the page. So one more check to make sure that I've got it where I want it, and then I'll just mark the placement of the object so that then I can put the glue on and get it right back down in place where I wanted it. And then I will repeat with the other items. I don't really need to do that as much with the penguin because he's on the top and everything else should be in place, and then I can just put him down and be done with it. So pretty satisfied with how that turned out. Now I need to add my label to my envelope. So it looks like it's got a seal on it. And I think that's super cute. Now, because I can't leave an envelope empty, I am going to create a little something to tuck inside so that I have a journaling card. I'm just gonna, I tried using that photograph because I thought it was really cute, but it didn't fit. So I also thought it would look nice on the page. I lose a little bit of the ink stain, but I'm really okay with that. So for this image, and I also think it works well with the penguin. It brings some of the gray in on that right side of the page over to the left side of the page. Then I decided, just in case I ended up with something tiny that I wanted to tuck, that I would turn this photo into a little bit of a tuck spot. So I can stick something behind it, or not. And then decided, okay, that other card that I hadn't used would work perfectly. So I used my decal cut scissors to trim the edges because I thought it looked more like the way photographs used to be when I was a child. And so it's not really a piece of ephemera, but it certainly looks like one. So it's tucked behind and I've got a little journal spot. And then I decided it would be super fun to put the other penguin in the pocket, just as a little bit of a surprise. I don't need the whole thing, so I went ahead and trimmed that off, and I'll just add the top half of him because that's really all that you'll see. And then I still have a little pocket there. I had not planned on doing that at the beginning, but I'm super satisfied with the way that that turned out. Now, it is day 9, and I do like to include the number on the page somewhere. I just happen to have this block number, and so I thought, well, I'll just use that as the number for the page and make it part of the collage. So again, brings a little bit more of that black in. So then I have sort of 3 things in a black tone: the coat of the penguin, the number, and then the photograph on the left-hand page. So I like doing things in 3s. Now, just to kind of finish everything off, I had these distress crayons and decided just to do a little bit of mark making on the page. Not a lot, just a bit, to make it a little bit more rustic, a little bit more homespun, and just to add a tiny bit more color without doing anything super, super obvious. So just a few things to make it pop. And that is it. Last thing I needed was a little bit of a journaling card, and so I took this piece of black plaid, again bringing in that black a little bit, and I was having a major issue with the envelope. I realized I got just a little bit of glue onto the envelope when I stuck the penguin down, and I really should have put a piece of wax paper or something in there. And then attempting to get it unstuck, I ended up tearing the envelope, but nothing that a little bit of washi tape can't cure. All right, so got my plaid paper to use as a journaling card, and I thought it would be kind of fun to back it with this text digital so that I would have a little journaling spot. And I thought I could always write in between the lines of the actual digital. So that's what I am doing here. And I did decide to use the art glitter glue on the outside because it's going to go in and out, and I thought it would take a little bit of a beating, but then the glue stick on the inside so that it would be a smooth surface that I could write on and not have any issues with the glue drying and creating any kind of lumps or bumps. So gluing that down, and then I just needed to trim the edge off, and I realize this is a little bit out of frame, but you get the idea. I'm just trimming the extra pieces off so that I have the square on both sides and a little bit of the same ink just to, again, connect it with everything else on the page. I do love using the distress ink this way to tie elements together and make them feel just a tiny bit more cohesive without working too terribly hard. And because this is just a hidden journaling spot, I'm not going to worry too much about any additional embellishment. I did have this little piece that I considered using, and then I decided, no, I'm just going to leave him blank and call it a day. Is that? I am so glad that you joined me today, and I hope you are having a great time with your own journals. Until next time, make a great day.